Welcome everyone, I'm Dominic, CTO and co-founder of Dropsolid, and welcome to our podcast, the Open Digital Experience Podcast. We will be talking about content management systems, digital experience platforms, everything you need to build the best customer experience. We will be talking about Drupal, Matic, everything open source to do this, and we will be interviewing experts from inside our company and also outside our company. So if you have 30 minutes, you go on a bike ride, go on a drive, put on our podcast and enjoy and learn everything digital experience. Hello everyone, welcome to the Dropsolid podcast. I'm Dominic, co-founder and co-CEO of Dropsolid, and today I have Sven van Uitvangen, our senior functional analyst, with me. And today we're going to talk about building online communities. Sven had a session at DrupalCon about this, and we had a lot of positive responses on this. So we thought, okay, maybe we just show it to a broader audience, and yeah, let's see where we get. Sven.
Yes.
My first question. Welcome today. My first
Yes,
question. My first question. Building online communities for your product, for your brand, for your purpose. How do you start something like this? How do you get the idea? How do you start it?
Yes, that's a very good question. I'm not going to state the obvious, but it's important as an analyst, I speak from my point of view, to completely understand the client, to completely manage the expectation management, understand their business logic, especially their future roadmap. Where are they now? Where are they going to go? As an analyst, it is important to encapsulate all that data in our solution we are going to deliver at the end of our workshops and our research we are doing. So in short, to answer your question, it is very, very important to have a mutual understanding, that's perhaps a better wording, between us, who are going to build a thing, and the client who has their ideas. You have a lot of these. Sometimes it's like a cowboy style, and we need to be like, okay, what do you want? Where are you going to go? And then we are going to create an approach that will work. That's the short answer.
Yeah, because I can imagine that everyone thinks I have to build a community around my brand, my product, my purpose. I need to get people together, then they will support me, they will buy from me, they will do whatever. So yeah, I need an online community. This is my my marketing strategy. But it goes deeper than just a marketing strategy, right?
It's way more. It's way more than that, and it's I kind of call it. We have to work together with different specialists. Like for example, to understand the client better, we have business analysts, we have strategists who kind of take the fluffy stuff and pour it into a form that we can understand, we can interpret. And then it comes to me or people who are functional analysts to see, okay, these are the building blocks we can work with. How are we going to make that translation between an idea and an outcome something they can grab on? So in between the whole series of workshops, there are a lot of people, a lot of specialists involved to create the better solution. And furthermore, it's also important that clients, when they talk about communities and things like that, that they need to be aware that there are already a lot of solutions online. You have a Facebook, you have Instagram, you have all those different things who offer more or less the same. And it's up to us to make sure we don't reinvent the warm water, as we say in Belgium, and look for the right solution for the right question. And that is the essence what we are going to do, or what we're trying to do.
Okay, so actually, if I understand correctly, you make it tangible. You catch the dream of the customer.
Yes.
And
yes.
you make it real.
Sometimes also I'm the annoying guy who says, let's be realistic about something, because it's not only about ideas, it's also about scope, it's about timing, it's about budget. That's a fact. And we have to make a fitting and a right solution for the right client. So it's also important to take all these things into consideration before we really have a go. And that's what I said first. I started with expectation management. If we have a perfect alignment from the beginning, even before I start or we start, like, okay, this is what we want, then we are absolutely good to go.
Yeah. Do you have any cases? I think you have, because the
Yes,
presentation
yes, yes, definitely.
had it. So maybe let's make it tangible and show some cases.
Yes, yes, yes. I'll share my screen in a moment. Maybe just a small introduction. It's about an existing case. And I used this one as the backbone for my talk on DrupalCon. So it's the same slides I showed on DrupalCon. Also, I'll show a few slides, go high level over them, but so we can all understand what we're talking about. I'm just going to share my screen. Building engaging communities. Yes. Normally, yes, I see my screen appearing. So
Yeah.
this is high level. If there are any questions, feel free to interrupt. But what happened in the past? There was a client who said to us, well, we want a new and extended website. Okay, but what do you want? What is this about? What we do have to know is that the client already invested a lot in their social media. So they have a lot of insights. They had a lot of business logic. But the complexity to this was that their business logic was subject to change, because since they are very deeply rooted into social media, they saw changes online. They saw changes in behavior of people. So they want to change their business logic, their mindset accordingly. So our solution needed to be very flexible towards them, so that they themselves can maintain something. So let me see here. Yes, next slide. So maybe it's a client in the healthcare sector. They sell certain products, and they also have their partners. So what they want is they want a whole community, a community that exists out of first a place where their partners, their affiliates, can manage their businesses. And they wanted to create a community of users that feeds itself, and they wanted to add a shop. So we have those three big pillars that they wanted to be poured into one whole, into one subject. So then we started thinking and grinding it out, like, okay, first of all, you talk about your partners. What is it? Well, they wanted a sort of protected zone with a login for only their professional partners, where they could manage their settings, check commissions, manage their own company, add employees, remove employees. And this part of the project had a very large API dependency, but an extremely large one. So everything we created for this community was connected to Dynamics 365, or Business Central, as we used to call it. Secondly, next to the professional partners part, there is also a large community, and they wanted to create communities for their customers. But, yeah, and I'll come back to that later, communities are language-based. They have no borders. A community has no physical borders. So that is one of the complexities we need to keep in our mind on how to create the community. Furthermore, within the community, what is a community? Well, they wanted a Facebook-like clone with a wall where you can post, react, share, where you have followers, where you can unfollow. You can do a lot of things. And it has to be a place to facilitate content creation. So we had to create multiple roles and permissions and workflows, because not everybody is able to create content that has to be approved, approval flows. And we also created a custom wizard for basic users, for newcomers or elderly people who are not used to create content for the internet. Simple wizard in a few steps that pushes content to the community. And last
Was this the fuel of the community, the content?
Well, it is the fuel of the community, because they wanted to a community who feeds itself. When a new product arrives, people can write reviews about it. They can write in their diary. They can share it in the community. It's yes, that's actually the essence of the community. Yes, the online shop was the final part they wanted. So we use the Drupal commerce with the products API, and also here a very large API dependency on the products, which kind of makes sense. So in essence, like I said before, there were some additional complexities we did not know of. They were new for me too. First of all, when you have shops, your site is multilingual, multi-market, and I mean shops all over Europe. So the shops are based on a market, which means like it's Belgium, Netherlands, Belgium, France, Germany, France, etc. You have specific shops for specific countries. But on the other hand, the community was based on language only. So how do we translate that? For example, we have a Dutch-speaking community, but there are more than one shops connected to that community. We all speak Dutch inside the community. The content is written in Dutch, but somebody needs to be directed to the right shop in order their products or in order to do something in the community. It's a pretty complex thing, but we managed it. Also, there is a very extreme user hierarchy, the roles and permissions. There is a complex editorial workflow. Like I said, for example, community members are divided into certain statuses. And a basic member can create content, but cannot use all the elements to create the content. And it needs to be moderated. It needs to be moderated by a user with a higher level, and so on. So there are many, many complexities, and again here many API dependencies. So
what kind of API dependencies are we talking about? What is coming in? Which data is coming in from the APIs?
Well, first of all, we have everything concerning products. We have also the users, which is an Active Directory thing. We have the whole authentication flow done in an external system, gets back to Drupal. Same goes for products, shops. All the content is managed externally, and also the items in the partner portal. For example, I visit a partner and I use a machine from the partner. The data from the machine can be shown in my feed. So there are many complexities.
Oh yeah, so it's also the product is feeding data directly into the community.
Yes, and products can be shared within a community, within the borders of the language of the community. So there are many complexities. So we took all these ideas from the client and we're like, okay, let's work on it. And then we started munching together with the clients, and we're like, okay, well, we did our functional part. We know what to build. We know how to build it. But then in order to align, I wrote something down, but in order to align business logic and expectations, we need to add another layer to seamlessly melt all elements together into one cohesive project. So what I'm trying to say here is like, we have those three standalone pillars, and we wanted to make it a community, because now you have the partner portal, you have the community, and you have the shop, but it's not merged. It's not that there is something missing. And that's what they were looking for. That was explicitly their question. How can we merge things together? So we came with the idea to add a reward system, some sort of gamification. So where users, community members were able to collect community coins by doing several different actions, and then they can spend them in the shop. This way, we create loyalty, and you can earn by supporting the community. So the community grows by being loyal to itself, let me say it like that. And you can spend your coins in the shop and then get rewarded for it. An example is, for example, in the community, you can write or review a product. So you can write a blog about a certain product. The moment you publish it, you get a certain amount of coins to you dedicated for fulfilling a certain actions.
You also get coins when you use the product.
No, that's for the
No.
that's for the partners. No, but thing is, what was I going to say? Yeah, I told you at the beginning that the client invests a lot in social media, and they were like studying the social behavior of people, or explicitly their goal. And we made a system so that the client is able to create its own events. Maybe I can skip some. Well, yes, we made a system where the client can create events, and where the user can earn certain amount of coins. So they can really say like, okay, well, I'm going to quickly throw this. Well, when somebody create a blog post and it's published, this is a Drupal internal event. The external events are, for example, and what you said a few seconds ago, if we need to connect to an external system that is at the partner's place, if the user used that, well, you can get a certain amount of coins. We can add the event action, like create, moderate, share. If you share a product, if you rate a product, for example, profile completion. When you complete your profile, you get a certain amount of coins. When you comment on something or you complete an order, you can do a lot of things. So in this case, it's
like a fully configurable gamification system.
It's
and then that's all Drupal. Like how much is Drupal contributing to being able to successfully build a project like this?
Oh, I'd say 90%, because we still have the API dependencies, but all this logic is configurable and set in Drupal. We solely rely on APIs when data needs to be read in or be pushed to another system. But the community is purely Drupal. It's 100% Drupal on its own. But there is one.
If Sven, for example, you want to build this thing from scratch, like custom code. You have your let's say a development framework, high-level development framework. Let's say you use Symfony and you have a front-end headless JavaScript front-end, and you have to build this from scratch. Compare this to Drupal, like in terms of effort. What do you get out of the box? What do you have to build yourself?
Well, it's the rules we have to build ourselves, but out of the box, we have our content types. And I think that's one of the many strengths of Drupal. We have this node-based system, which we can address. For example, in this case, the example I've been giving, like when you create a blog item, you get a certain amount of points. We have all those things available, those elements, those events available in Drupal. We have a creation, we have a publish, we have unpublish. We can create new things. We can simply hook in and create new events or custom events. We can do that. So this is, for me, where the strength of Drupal resides in. Also, when we communicate between Drupal commerce or a commerce, Drupal nodes, the partner part, it's all node-based. So we have certain elements. For example, one thing we also made,
like the points, how does that?
Well, that is something we had to warn the client for, because they can enter any amount they want. So they needed to have a certain logic. So, for example, if you are on a checkout so the points, what they do actually is they give you a discount on a product. So on each product, they can configure the maximum amount of discount and stuff like that. But it's up to the client to decide the value of one coin, so that you never can have a negative outcome when you check out in the shop. For example, I buy 10 products, I put in my points, and then the shop owes me money. Stuff like that.
Yeah. So you have to be careful. The system, you have to configure it, but I got a bit of the track here. But yes. back to what is the value Drupal is contributing, as I understand correctly. Like you get a whole framework out of the box. How much is custom code of what you've been describing?
Well, in this specific case, it's almost completely custom coded because there were a lot of custom requests. But as always, we're never too old to learn. And also for this specific case, this was the best solution. I need to mention that also. But there are, like, for example, OpenSocial, which at that point in time was not as extended and strong as it is now. But that would make a good competitor, if I can call it, to the thing we made now. So there are some, and I'm going to quote it, out of the box solutions, but but again,
seamlessly combine the commerce, the gamification, the partner portal, the multilingual. A lot of these building blocks come out of the box with Drupal, but still needs, like, the custom code you refer to, I can imagine, is the code to glue it all together.
Because Drupal is API first. It's API based, and that is a big plus point when you develop stuff. But just
for me to understand correctly, like, if you would be working with like a framework, you would be building all the subsystems also from scratch, while in Drupal you already have the big subsystems.
Yes,
and you only have to write the glue code.
But you have a good foundation. You have decent architecture, and that is the basic. You build ground up. It's like we have our basic, and then we're going to add blocks. It's the modular way of working. It's like it opens up. But for example, what I wanted to say about the node-based system, there is also an alert system. For example, when you create something, you get a push notification saying, "Oh, welcome! You, for example, you created a blog post. You earned 20 coins." The whole alert system is also configurable. Why? Because we have those nodes, and they can configure every text because we work with tokens, and everything is set in a token, so they can create their own alerts based on events that were created. So it's really wide. It's a broad solution. And it's really aimed at them being flexible to compete with what's happening in the social landscape.
So basically, the return on investment for a customer like this is that they have like a highly configurable community product, which if you would be using like more generic products, or you would be doing it at Facebook, you would be limited to their certain feature set. And in this case, you have complete control on how the heart of this community beats.
Yes. But also, I think a lot of talks, a lot of workshops, because at the beginning they said, yeah, well, we want to have these functions where people can earn coins. And we were looking at those like spreadsheets, and we're like, no, we need to think. These are functionalities we have. Can we just open them up towards certain roles and permissions and make sure that the client can configure them accordingly? And that's a solution we came up with. And that's also the reason we made it custom, so they can really have control over the whole gamification system.
Yeah, because in the end here, the idea is to sell more product, have the products more used, increase the loyalty, the word of mouth.
So mouth to mouth is like the community is self-feeding, and the client loyalty is very important. So it adds up to each other.
You're building your snowball, eh? And then another question, Sven, to go on another track, like the whole concept of DXP, like adding Mautic, for example, marketing automation and CDP, customer data platform on top of the Drupal CMS commerce system with the APIs. Like how does this could impact a community project like this?
Yes, well, it's not only this product, but in general, I think our DXP has to offer a lot of advantages. For example, you talked about Mautic, like the marketing automatization. I think personalization, when you talk about communities, people want to be talked to personal. It's their community. Well, Mautic is the perfect solution to contact people based on personalization. I'm thinking out of the box. For example, it's your birthday. Here, it's your birthday. You get 50 coins or something, or you've been loyal for so long, you get something. I think Mautic is the perfect match to use that for. On the other hand, we also have the Unomi, which are the AI to automate certain stuff. Also personalization. Like, for example, when you have a community, you have a wall, you have certain interest. Well, yeah, let's push certain products, for example, or let's push other, I call them influencers within the community towards you and connect to each other. I think those two things are the way to go in the future, definitely. And that's what I see in general on the DXP, the two major things that are really innovating when we want to make communities.
So yeah, you have like your own mini private Facebook with
yes, definitely.
with the data, the behavior data of the users and everything on top of it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I see we almost running out of time. So let's wrap it up. Sven,
okay, yeah.
Thank you very much for your time today. And it was a pleasure talking to you. And hope to see you again at DrupalCon to see the continuation of these stories.
Definitely. I'll be there. Thank you very much, Domi.
Bye-bye.
Bye.